Today, we're going to answer your questions about moving to the Woodlands, Texas. We've scoured the internet, we've looked on Facebook groups, on Reddit, and we've talked to our past clients about the truth about moving to the Woodlands, Texas. My name is Chase Giles. I'm the broker and team leader of the Giles real estate team, where we help families relocate to the Woodlands. I've lived here for over 20 years. I grew up here, I live here with my family, and now I get to help families just like you move right here to the Woodlands, Texas. So let's jump in, talking about the truths of moving to the Woodlands, Texas. The first question that we want to answer are, what are the people like in the Woodlands, Texas? Now, since we're actually not in the city of Houston, things tend to be a little bit more slower paced. The Woodlands is designed where you live amongst nature. So we often find that the people here are very active. There's tons of hike, bike, and walking trails. We have the Ironman, we have marathons. There's lots of pools and nature trails for people just to be out and about. In the suburbs, it tends to be a little bit more conservative. Now, we still do have a lot of diversity here. Since we've been seeing a lot of people move from other parts of the state, other parts of the country, and even people from out of the country, Texas has become more and more diverse. And so the Woodlands, either socioeconomically, politically, and even culturally, and the different ethnicities that we're seeing, has become quite more diverse in the last 5 to 10 years, which is pretty awesome. It's bringing in a lot of fun families, it's bringing a lot of fun culture and different restaurants and great flares to our community. Now, because of our really great schools and amenities, the Woodlands does tend to be a little bit more family oriented, which is great. If you're a family looking to relocate here, you'll be surrounded by community that's in a very similar life stage. Now, don't get me wrong, there are pockets of the Woodlands that have a more urban city kind of feel to them if you're looking for that more urban lifestyle that you might get in Houston. Question number 2 is, what is the cost of living in the Woodlands? How expensive is it to live here? Now, although we're known for having a really high quality of life and having luxury homes and Market Street and the mall and all these amazing, kind of amenities, the Woodlands is actually decently affordable. The cost index compared to the United States is actually just 1% higher than all of the US. Now, within Texas, it's about 6.5% higher than the average cost of living in Texas. Compared to Houston, my personal experience is that our gas, our groceries, our kind of day-to-day living expenses are going to be cheaper than living down in Houston. One of the biggest impacts that I've noticed is actually car insurance. The majority of the Woodlands is located in Montgomery County, and our car insurance is going to be less than that of Harris County, where Houston is located. Now, our real estate prices have continued to climb, which is good for homeowners, and so that is maybe one of the more negative things, where it does tend to be a little bit more expensive to purchase a home in the Woodlands, Texas. Question number 3 that I get often is, what are things that you don't like about the Woodlands? Now, to jump right in, the very first thing that we've talked to a lot of people about is there's a lack of new construction. So if you're wanting to be in one of the Woodlands 9 villages, we're 100% built out. So the Woodlands started being built in 1974, and it is completed in about 2018 with some of the last homes that were built. We're actually celebrating our 50th year anniversary this year, and so we're not building any more new homes. For that reason, you may need to make some updates or your own personal preferences whenever you purchase a home here. Just because the house might be a little bit older, built in the 80s or the 90s, you might want to do some things that brings it up to modern aesthetics. Historically speaking, the Woodlands has not had a ton of diversity in food. And the reason for that is that the majority of our commercial real estate is in the village centers. And we have a whole video talking about different village centers and the 9 villages. So, real estate in these spaces for little mom and pop restaurants to pop up has been hard and expensive for maybe a experimental restaurant that could potentially, be great in our community. Now, we're starting to see that change a little bit. There's a lot of great restaurants that have been in Houston and been established for 1 or 2 locations, bringing a 3rd or 4th location up here to the Woodlands, and we are really excited for that to come. But that is something that, I find myself maybe going down into Houston for a fun dinner night, date night out. The 4th question that we get all the time is, what are the best neighborhoods in the Woodlands? Now, we do have a whole video about this, and it's really hard to answer just on a video like this. What we typically do is want to schedule a phone call with you where we plan out kind of a discovery trip or your discovery session, what you might be looking for. Because if you are commuting into Houston, you need to be closer to I-45. If you want to be close to your church, there's obviously specific neighborhoods. Maybe there's a specific school that you want your kids to go to, and you need to be close to that. So depending on one situation, there are great options. We just need to know kind of the big criteria and what is most important for you. If you are seriously considering moving to the Woodlands, let's talk about the discovery trip. Lots of people fly in, they book a hotel for a long weekend. I can pick you up, we can go schedule a few tours on some homes so you can get a feel of what it might be like to live in a $400,000 home or a $2 million home or an $800,000 home. See how backyards feel and see how the different villages feel and their different styles. It's an important part of your move here, so reach out to us with the link down below so we can set that up. While you're down in the description, be sure to subscribe to our channel. If you're thinking about moving to the Woodlands, Texas, you never want to miss one of our videos because we're making videos about living, working, and moving right here to the Woodlands, Texas. Also, if you have questions, comment them down below. We might make a whole video about your comments and your questions. Now, let's get back to the video. Question number 5 is, what is the weather like in the Woodlands? Now, you may have been online, you've heard things about hurricanes or tornadoes or crazy weather if you're moving to Texas, all the crazy heat that we have. And a lot of it is kind of true. So the Woodlands actually has a pretty diverse, weather cycle. We get pretty hot in the summer, up to 110, and we get pretty cold too. We have days below freezing. I've actually had clients that have moved here, sold some of their, winter gear, and then found that they actually do need it whenever they're living in Texas. You've heard things about, snowvid that we had, which was a crazy snap freeze that Texas got. And then you've also heard things about Hurricane Harvey. So those are obviously real. It does get cold. We do have hurricanes, but I will say those are outliers. I've lived in Texas my whole life, and more specifically, I've lived in the Woodlands for 20 years and really don't think much about the weather. Question number 6 is, what is there to do in the Woodlands? The first thing I want to talk about is nature. Now, we are obviously surrounded by the forest and all the hike, bike, and walk trails that we have in our community. So that's a big element of it. My wife and I like to go on bike rides around our, neighborhood and our village. All of the sidewalks connect. So you can actually get on your bike or run, as I do sometimes, from the very back of the Woodlands to the very front of the Woodlands to I-45. Everything's connected. Your kids can ride their bikes directly to school on these, bike paths that have, cross lanes and everything like that. There's water parks. We've got disc golf courses. There's, we're about an hour away from Galveston if you wanted to go to the beach. Right? Downtown Houston has a ton to offer. But specifically in the Woodlands, there's dog parks. We've got tons of sports fields. And a big element too is your community. So there's plenty of churches, there's lots of clubs, sports for kids are happening all the time, YMCA, different gyms. It's a very active lifestyle that we have here in the Woodlands. It's a very special thing. Now, one of the most crown jewel and kind of well-known areas of the Woodlands is Market Street, Waterway, and the Woodlands Mall. And if you're coming to visit, you can't not go there, right? I would definitely say go to the Waterway, walk around, get a cup of coffee, and enjoy a fun kind of urban feel in nature. It's really great. Plus, there's tons of shopping and food. So Market Street is kind of the mecca for this, or the center point for this. There's lots of high-end shopping options, and there's lots of great outdoor areas for you to enjoy with your friends and family. So if you're looking for things to do in the Woodlands once you move here, we've got you covered. There's plenty to do. Question number 7 is probably our most asked and popular question. How are the schools in the Woodlands? Now, we have a whole video dedicated to this, but the short answer is they're awesome. The majority of the Woodlands goes to Conroe Independent School District, and that is an A+ rated district. There's lots of good options, whether it be private school or some of the other villages are zoned to other ISDs that are also A rated. Now, if you want to do a quick search for your own, I would recommend niche.com or a rate the school website. We'll have some links down below that'll be easy for you to review different schools, different elementary schools, different high schools in our area. Next up, question number 8 is, what is it like to commute down into Houston? Now, I have a pretty good knowledge of this because my wife actually commutes every single day to her job in downtown. And there's a couple options. She leaves pretty early for work and will get off work a little bit early too, so she can kind of beat the rush hour traffic. Now, the Woodlands has its own park and ride system. So you can go from your neighborhood, park in a parking lot, hop on the Woodlands Express, and it's got a variety of locations that it'll drop you off at. Downtown, the Med Center, energy corridor. So one, it's efficient, you're being green, you're saving gas. And two, it's actually pretty cheap whenever you evaluate fuel and wear and tear on your car. That's a really great feature. Now, there are great toll roads all the way around Houston. The Hardy Toll Road is probably one of the most used and most efficient ways to get into Houston. We also have three main loops around Houston, and two of them are toll roads. There's 99, there's the Beltway. So if you do need to get into Houston quickly, there's always going to be a toll road option where, there'll be less traffic. Although you do have to pay, it's definitely worth it. Now, we did mention the park and ride system for public transportation, but other than that, there's not much public transport in Houston, but specifically in the Woodlands. Now, we do have a little trolley system that'll take you around the waterway and the shopping and stuff, and that's free for anybody that wants to stop and take, the trolley. But we don't have, other buses that go into Houston, or a subway, or kind of a rail system to get around. Texas is kind of known for things being big and spread out, and so we're definitely driving places to get around. Question number 9 is, what is the real estate market like in the Woodlands? Now, this is my area of expertise. I do this every single day. Now, the data I'm going to give you is actually from 2023. We're filming this video right now at the beginning of January in 2024. Throughout 2023, the Woodlands average list price to sold price was 99.2%. It's still very strong. Lots of people, companies are moving to Houston, specifically the Woodlands, for everything it offers, and that is keeping our real estate market up despite the high interest rates that we had in 2023. Now, our median house price was $590,000. That's going to get you probably 4 bedrooms, a pool, a good size yard, 2-car garage, maybe an office. That's going to be over 3,000 square feet, so your money is going to go a long way here as well. The average days on market was 22 days. That's across the cheapest home all the way up to the most expensive house, over $5 million, that was sold last year. In 2021, 2020, 2022, we still had a lot of competition where there was lots of bidding over asking. Now, although we're seeing a little bit less of that, we anticipate that come this summer of 2024, it's still going to be a competitive market. And whenever a good house in a good neighborhood with some good updates comes on the market, it definitely can get competitive. Now, I can give you a better understanding of what that might look like based on your own criteria. So reach out to us, we'll talk about it, and we'll figure out next steps forward. Our last question, number 10, is living in the Woodlands really worth it? Now, I'm a little biased because I've lived here for so long and I get to sell our community every single day. But I would say yes, if you're looking for a high quality of life, maybe you're wanting to relocate here for your children or for good education. Maybe you want to live in a community where you have a short commute and easy access to all the amenities. The Woodlands is going to be perfect for you. It really does have a lot to offer, and with how much Houston is growing and our economy is growing, there's lots of job opportunities here as well. So I think if you move here, you're going to be really happy. You won't be disappointed. But reach out to us because we'd love to be a part of your story and your journey right here to the Woodlands, Texas. Again, my information is down below. Reach out to us. No pressure at all, but we'd love to start having a conversation with you. Thanks for your time, and we'll see you on the next video.